And I thought to myself, all right, I want to break the mold. I want to say, I respect what's been done before me, but there's a lot of people doing that, and I'm ready to do something that's just different. How do I do that? And the first thing I came up with was, I had gotten, so now you're around 2010, right? So I'm 6 years in, and remember, I'm a teacher. I'm a curriculum builder. So I always think, what do you need to know or know how to do? And then reverse engineer from there, right? That's my mental process. What do people need to be able to know or know how to do? Define it clearly, learning objectives, and then reverse engineer and say, oh, this is how you get them to there. And so that's what I started doing naturally with hypnotism itself. I started asking questions. And I didn't do it on forums anymore, because what I found is when you question the normal tradition, people just went crickety, right? And I was like, I'll just do it. So the first thing I thought is, why do we take people from the audience and bring them up on stage on an elevated platform and then go, here, stare at the giant crowd of people looking at you and go into hypnosis? How's that for comfortable? I said, that's crazy. So I started hypnotizing them while they were still sitting in the audience, because I thought, well, gosh, wouldn't it be more comfortable to just sit where you already sat and stare at an empty stage? And just look at an empty stage? No one's looking at you. You're just looking at an empty stage. So I started doing it. And I started getting 20 to 30% more people to get hypnotized in my show. I was doing all right in the first place. I was getting what traditional people get. But all of a sudden, now I'm getting more people. I got more choice. I can be more picky. I can afford to let go of more people because I got more people up on stage, right? And I'm good at claiming when I had a good idea, and I'll tell you when I just stumbled onto something. And I thought, and then when you come with your roommate or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and you're sitting right next to them, and they shift, and they start to get the eye twitching. They start to get the blotchiness. They change the breathing, right? You see it right up close. And isn't that going to wow the audience more than just staring and watching at them go into state from a distance on stage? Of course it is. So they can sit right there and be like, holy shit, look at that, right? So now the show is changing from the beginning. It's changing right from the beginning. And finally, then I think, and there's a logistical beauty to this. Then what I do is I get them to the point where I decide, okay, now we got to figure out what's really working for and get them up on stage. And if you're not one of those people, you don't get rejected. You don't get cast out. You're just sitting in your chair already. And I go, if this is happening to you, I want you to come up on stage. And you go, nope, that's not happening to me. And you just sit there. So there's no feeling of like, we don't want you, which in our current culture is a lot more important than it used to be. Like, especially with young people. Young people don't deal very well with rejection anymore, right? But we all don't want to be rejected. So that was my first thing. I created a show format in which they get hypnotized right in the audience. Then what I do is I give them name amnesia, right? And then I make up the excuse that I've been talking a lot, and my throat's getting scratchy, and I need to go get a drink of water. Listen, while I do, just be nice. It's sort of like when you go to church. Everyone turn, introduce yourself to the person to the left of you, introduce yourself to the person to the right of you. I'm just going to take a couple sips of water. Do that. Introduce yourself. Be friendly. Be kind. And I let them do it. Oh, I got dry, and I just sit, and I sort of... And then they're turning to each other. Hey, what's your name? I'm Paul. Nice to meet you. But then they turn to the next person and they go, hey, what's your name? And the person goes, oh. And they're right there. They're right there, and they get to see that oh shit moment in the person's eyes when they realize they can't remember their own name, which you can see on stage, but it's not this good. It's good, but I think it's just better when you're right there, especially if you're sitting next to your roommate, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your RA, right? And the laughter begins, and the laughter begins.